Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside Lowell. Welcome to Tea Time. Thank you so much for joining us. This Inside Lowell podcast is brought to you from WellPoint Studios. WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits to Massachusetts GIC members exclusively. And at WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. I am extremely honored to have some amazing guests today with me here in the studio, and I would like to introduce Pastor Dwayne Wheeler and his lovely wife, Evangelist Stacy Wheeler. Welcome to the studio. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just so glad to be here and have an opportunity to sit across the table from you for a little while.
Yes. We have a lot to chat about.
Okay.
There's
Yes, we
some
do.
great stuff going on that
Yes,
you
there
guys
is.
are working on.
Yes, there's a number of things that we're working on in our ministry. Ministry's named Greater Deliverance Temple Church of God in Christ. We're located at 225 Stedman Street in the city of Lowell, Mass. But I take a different focus to ministry. For me, if it's not being behind the pulpit, that's okay. But the majority of the work that I need to do is out here in these streets where the people are.
Right.
You know,
I love that. Because growing up in church, I feel like that was not really a thing you saw all the time.
No.
right.
It was more of in a building,
Yes.
and you had events, you
Mhm.
had church, Bible study, choir rehearsal, Sunday school, all these things.
Yeah.
But there wasn't as much. And we're going to get into that because that's something I recently learned about what you guys have been. We're going to dive into that as well.
We can,
Okay.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
take a holistic, for me, I take a holistic approach
Yeah.
when it comes to church and comes to ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm preaching and you sitting in the congregation and you're hungry, then I'm not doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
You got to be good all the way around.
Right.
As far as that's the way
Yeah.
I look at it. But I thank God for this lovely lady
Yes,
here.
I was
that God
gonna
bless
say,
me
and
with.
let's also not forget.
No.
Yeah. Just like you growing up in church, definitely there is a difference in being in a building consistently because there are people out there that need help too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all about, coming into a building where you have church and you're dancing and shouting and your next door neighbor is homeless and hungry. Yet they see you, driving what you drive, coming up to your fancy building in your fancy clothes, and you don't even pay them any attention. So, with the community that we are in, homelessness is very big here in the city, as we all
Right.
know.
Right.
But who's really helping them?
Right.
Everybody's not homeless because they're an addict.
Right.
Some people are homeless because they can't afford somewhere to live, unfortunately. So, those things are really, really big right now in this area and in this time. And I'm just grateful to be a part of being able to, give somebody a meal or
Right.
give somebody a box of food or something like that. So, people are really looking for the church to come out of those four walls
Right.
and do something. What are you really doing in the community? It's not all about a building.
Right. And I would definitely just, piggyback on that
Mhm.
because homelessness is like a giant epidemic,
Yes.
not just in our country, but all
Everywhere.
over.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you think about what the role the church plays,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, we just preach into the same people every Sunday and we're all comfortable and we go home because I've been fortunate. I've never been homeless,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm pretty sure I could have been
Of course.
at some points in my life if
Mhm.
it wasn't for resources and people in
Right.
my life.
Yep.
And I think that people have a misconstrued concept in their minds
Mhm.
of how people become homeless and
Mhm.
on the streets,
Mm-hmm.
and desolate and things like that. And I would love to just kind of talk about how you all ended up working with the homeless, especially here in the city of Lowell.
Well, what my wife failed to tell you, she is from Lowell. All right, she is
Born and raised.
born and bred. And I actually grew up in the city of Lynn. Now, I tell people all the time, it's just the same sweet, a different flavor.
Right.
So the same sort of situations and troubles that I dealt with growing up in Lynn were the same situations that my wife Stacy has grown up here in the city of Lowell. I have a very great growing up, but it's funny because my father was a police officer and my mother and a pastor. My mother was a probation officer and a pastor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh,
That's stern upbringing right there.
wow. Well, yeah.
Police probation. It's like, get up, make your bed.
So
Did they bounce the coin off your bed to
absolutely
make sure?
not. I'm gonna tell you, it absolutely not. My father was a pastor's son also.
Okay.
So
he understood.
So he understood.
Yeah.
So he took a different approach to rearing me and bringing me up. So I've seen I've seen it all, and I saw the work that my parents did. I saw them taking in people and putting them in the spare bedrooms at times in our house. I saw whole families coming to live in our house because there was a need. So when God blessed us, we've been at it about 10 years now in the city of Lowell. Our ministry is, we've been about 10 years. When we started, I had to have a different approach. I started with outreach. I started with finding out where the other churches are and what the other church is. There a community group of churches or pastors with a like mind to help do the outreach and so on and so forth. So when I started that, I met Pastor 𝐓𝐞𝐞 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞.
Yes.
And
CCF.
he at CCF.
Yeah.
And he had a group called, at that time it was called Citywide Church, and it was a group of churches that were like-minded, and we started going around, and we had different events in which we were giving out things to people in need. And then, that would, was right up my alley. So, when that, ran its course, I had to continue, and I thank God that he has blessed me with some great partners. I need to give one of them a shout out right now.
Go ahead.
Lavinia Perusa,
Dwelling House of Hope. We love you, Lavinia.
House of Hope. She has been very instrumental.
And her church is Fuse.
Her
right?
church, she goes. Fusion Church.
I don't know why.
Yeah, her church is
Mount
Fusion
Hope
Church
in Lowell. Yeah.
on Mount Hope Street in Lowell. But her nonprofit is separate, Dwelling House of Hope,
Correct.
which is a separate ministry that she is the executive director of, and she has always, pastor, whatever you need. And I thank God for that. I thank God for my local congregation also. God has blessed me with some really great people.
Yeah.
Every year we do a hat drive, and we do different drives for I tell them, hey, we need to get some I need some supplies for women's needs. So I ride. Can I tell you? I ride around the city with my wife's gonna laugh at you. I ride around the city. I have hats. I have that are packed up with gloves, that are packed up with heat packs, so you can warm up your hands.
Right.
I ride around with bags full of women's needs, along with toothbrushes and toothpaste. So if
You can say tampons and pads. He's trying to be so fancy.
I'm not trying to be fancy. I'm trying to be politically correct.
No,
okay,
we're good. The women need some Midol, some tampons.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
And just because you're on the streets, it does not mean that you still don't have that need.
Right.
No, you absolutely have it. I couldn't even imagine what that's like, because I know as a woman, when you say women's needs, so
Yes.
I do that.
Say
by
it.
that.
No, come on. All right.
to Target or
Yeah.
Walmart or somewhere and get me some things. But to think about that, because I know recently, even in the city, I think it was this past Saturday, Bernard Howard, they
Okay.
had a
Yes.
drive for
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's so important because people don't realize the most basic needs that are easily forgettable.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because that's one of them. Socks,
Come on.
Socks, big
underwear,
Yeah.
what's the obviously jackets,
Sure,
because
sure.
we live in New England.
Absolutely.
But just different things like a hat
Yeah.
or gloves, things like that. And it's just like the basic essentials that most of us would take for granted because we're not.
Let me just
in that.
interject right there.
Yeah.
Do you know, and we don't pay attention to that you can die over a toothache?
Yes.
So
An abscess.
and come on, an abscess, and not taking care of dental care, we take that stuff for granted. You know, because we live, you know, we have that in our houses. You know, we have electric or whatever, floss and that. Absolutely, we have all that.
Dental insurance.
Come on.
People don't have that.
Those people don't have that.
Especially if you're on the street.
No.
So-
So if you don't have it, I'm like, I thought I can actually use today as an example. Because it's like sometimes I get up super early and then I'm logging in and I'm like going. I'm like, brush my teeth. Ooh. But to think about not being able to brush
Have
your
that
teeth
option.
for days.
Yeah.
Come on.
That is where
lot.
things start to, you know.
Absolutely.
Because I know I'm like, oh, what time
Right.
is it? 8:30? Oh,
Right.
I gotta brush this. Get this right. But no, but I absolutely think that's super important. And one of the things I will say is my kids, they go to the charter school on Jackson Street.
Yes.
And the street next to them on Middlesex that parallels their school is a transitional.
Right.
Little transitional shelter.
So you see a lot of people
Yes.
there and you see them just freezing and they have little bits of things. And one of the things I will say is during the pandemic, the school obviously was closed.
Sure.
However, they offered breakfast and lunch, and you can go, like, parents pick up like a bag full of milks and,
Right.
you know, sandwiches and fruits and things like that. And I was like, this, because we're fortunate
Yeah.
that my
Sure.
kids don't.
Right.
So I would get it only to give it.
Sure.
Yep.
Because I wanted my kids to see the importance of helping others
Yeah.
in need. Because I said, you never know.
Right.
That could be your family. It could be your friends. It
Absolutely.
could be you.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the messages I always try to give my kids is you have to understand how blessed you are. Because
That's it.
there's so many things that you do not have to think about. You can wake up,
Yeah.
take a shower,
Absolutely.
brush your teeth, have clean clothes, have 3 square meals a day,
Absolutely.
do your sports, do all these things, get a high quality education.
Yeah.
And that's like high living.
Sure.
That's high living.
Yeah.
Come
And
on.
most people, that's not what
They don't have
get.
that.
No.
They don't have that.
And you have parents who have jobs that are able to help support you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I push my kids so hard. Their dad does too. And I'm just like, even some of their classmates, some of their parents aren't able to do that because
Sure.
they were essential workers, especially
Sure.
during
There
the
you go.
pandemic too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like I want them to never take for granted
Yeah.
how blessed they are, but also understand other people's circumstances.
Absolutely.
Can I speak to that?
Yes.
I was the only child. Okay, I didn't have.
God bless your heart. Not me.
Okay,
Me either.
I didn't have any brothers or sisters. There was no lack in my house. I was spoiled, but I was not allowed to be selfish. So I was always able to understand how other people had to live. And when I got a little older and I started smelling myself, because all children do.
Right.
Yours
Like,
will, yours will too. Keep
oh,
living.
they already do.
Okay.
They're showering every day.
No,
twice
I'm
at
not.
least.
No, I'm not talking about smelling them smells.
Okay,
Not like the
gotcha.
old folks say.
Grown.
Right,
Like the old
gotcha.
folks say,
Sorry, my
smelling.
bad.
No, smelling yourself. And my dad told me sat me down one day. He said, "Son, I have money, and you have nothing." That put something in me to make sure that I understood how blessed I was, and that I also had to understand that I had to get out there and get it myself, you know. And if you keep that philosophy, yeah, I got it. You have nothing. You have to work for it.
Right.
And it put a value of work within me. I'm a full-time pastor. I do this full time. But prior to this, God knows I worked a lot, and in the secular arena. But this, can I tell you, I've retired twice, but this is the hardest. I promise you, this is the hardest job and the most hours I've ever worked in my life.
I can only imagine. It's like you're on call. It's like you're a doctor for the soul. That's what I think about, right?
It's funny that
like
you.
doctors
I love it.
are always on call,
Yeah.
but you're a different kind because,
Yeah.
hey, Pastor Wheeler, oh my goodness, I'm going through this. Because I feel like it's not even just the time, but the psychology and like the emotions of it.
Absolutely.
When you could be easily drained because you're listening to people's woes,
Right.
and trials and tribulations, and then obviously you have your own family.
Absolutely.
So it's like I feel like people don't really truly understand what it takes to be a pastor sometimes, because I'm not a pastor, obviously, but I have people who want to call me if they have something going on,
Yeah.
and it could be very emotionally draining and
Yeah.
psychologically
Absolutely.
So when you say that, I'm like, you have like a triple job almost.
It's funny you say that, because during COVID, I didn't know how essential I was until our Congresswoman, Laurie Trahan, called me. She said, go get your vaccine. I put your name on the list. You are an essential person, and we need you.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that much of me. I'm running around giving away groceries,
doing things.
things. I didn't think that. And it's funny that we're talking about church, and we're talking about post COVID and what have you. I'll tell a lot of churches didn't survive COVID.
They didn't.
Okay, and I tell people, if your church was not essential, God did not allow you to survive COVID. It was time for you to close the door.
Close it up.
So I feel very strong about the church, that we need to be essential to the community.
Yes.
We need to be essential to the people and meet the needs of the people that come our way, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
I'm talking a lot. My wife needs to talk, because she's an awesome.
She's over here like, yep, she's giving you like the church, amen. Yep, got it.
Good thing.
Well, I would say for me, side note for our viewers,
Come on there.
Stacy was my babysitter.
Tell it.
Yes,
tell
I
it.
was.
Tell it.
Yes, proudly.
I've known her for, oh my goodness, I'm
Pretty much
gonna
all
be
your life.
45. So,
Yeah.
oh my, over 30 something years.
Oh yeah.
So I knew her before you did.
Absolutely.
Sorry, not sorry. But no, I would say for me, because obviously being a first lady, that's a job in itself too.
It is. It is. Nobody ever wakes up and says, I want to be a first lady. If you do, something's wrong.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
If you choose that life on purpose.
And I mean, I love what I do. I love the people that God has blessed me to serve, because I'm a servant. It's hard for people to serve you when you have the heart of a servant. I tell people all the time, I can carry my own purse. I don't need you to carry my coat. All of that is irrelevant to me. As long as I am meeting the needs of God's people, that's where my heart is. God has blessed me to have a couple of different ministries that I am working on, which I am grateful for. I am a survivor of domestic violence, and I also have a ministry called Healing All Scars. It is not only for women, because just like women are abused, men are abused too. So that is very dear to my heart. And I started that in 2019. And it's growing. It is gradually growing. And the last couple of years, I've had a brunch, and those funds that we've raised, we've been able to donate to shelters, that house men and women. So I'm grateful for that opportunity. And this year, a couple of the women in our ministry came up with an idea of wanting to do what's called the Purse Project. And what the Purse Project is, we all have pocketbooks that we don't use.
I don't.
You're excluded from this conversation.
Okay.
You're excluded from this conversation. You have a mail purse. You have a satchel.
I don't have a merch.
Either.
I don't have a
You
merch.
don't have a satchel
No,
or
ma'am.
like a briefcase.
Yeah, there you go.
Bag.
Uh,
But what the Purse Project is we want to have people donate those purses, and we want to put female products in them, pads and tampons and, deodorants. Because what we do is we do go around town, and the shelters that we do donate to, they're in Ziploc bags. And, sometimes women need something to carry their stuff in.
Yeah.
So we've come up with this idea that we are just starting this year. So we want to.
So is this the first time?
This is the first time we've
When
done
is it?
We're hoping to have a date in May.
Oh,
So we're looking to
May's
collect.
a wonderful month.
Yeah, we're looking to collect 100 purses. It doesn't have to be a
Okay.
name brand purse, anything like that. Just a purse that's not, something that you wouldn't use. Because you know
Right.
what? Just because people are homeless does not make them less than.
Correct.
Give them something to eat what you would eat. Give them something to wear that you would wear. Don't just give them something, oh, I don't need this anymore. It's old.
Right.
It's
Or it's
cruddy.
stained and got
Right.
holes.
You don't do
I
that.
hate that.
You do not do that.
No.
So we're looking to do this, and toothpaste and toothbrushes, whatever you can donate that, you would want in your purse. And like I
Yeah.
say, with the people that are homeless, you don't know what the it was that brought them to where they are. So no judgment.
And they could be just one conversation away from changing their life, meeting the
Absolutely.
right person and having things.
Absolutely.
Because even having a job interview, it's like if they got an outfit, boom,
Right.
right.
Exactly.
Because I know there's an organization, oh my goodness, was it Dress for Success
Yes.
in Boston
hmm
that I've been a part of, and that's what it's about. It's helping just let's get you in something
Mhm.
and give you some interview tactics.
Sure.
Because that's all you need.
hmm Yep.
It's not even about people want to assume, they're probably mentally ill,
Right. Right. Because
or
that's the stigma. That's
they're
the stigma.
mentally ill or they're on drugs.
One or the other.
Those are usually the two things that people assume. But I would challenge people to have a conversation.
I
Be
agree.
like,
Come on.
okay.
I agree.
Because you never know. They could have been somewhere,
Right.
high up
Mhm.
and got a terrible divorce, lost or who knows?
Right. It
Anything
could be
have
anything.
happened.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
It's funny that you all say that. During the summer, God has blessed me to go into the encampments and
Yes.
to bring the food and talk to different people. And it's funny that one of the people that I go out there week after week, unbeknownst to me, he was an alcoholic, and his girlfriend loved to get him drunk, because after she got him drunk out of his brain, she'd beat him up. He would end up in the hospital after being beat up in the head and concussion, so on and so forth. And we'd go out there week after week. And finally, one of the partners was able to have him to sign a release of information, because we couldn't give out his information.
Right.
And when he signed that, we reconnected him with his family that has been wanting to get him out of the encampments. And now he's living in Brockton with his
Oh, I love that.
listen, and I'm going to tell you, and it's not I had one job. I worked for 2 weeks.
2 whole weeks.
2 whole weeks.
Got it.
But I learned a lesson from that job that I've carried everywhere I go. I was a car salesman for 2 weeks. And in my training, I learned that you're going to get 10 no's before you get one yes. And so that's the mentality. If you give me no once, that's fine. You give me, I'm coming back. You give me no. And because I kept not just taking the no, this individual is living a better life. Then there's another one, a Kenyan brother that was, he was very well educated.
Yes.
But he had fallen on hard times due to some different situations. And he self-medicated with alcohol. And then I think we had we had one cold night. And then the next morning, I went out there. And he said, brother, I'm going today. He said, I'm not going to have another day like this. And he left, and the partners in the city found him a bed for rehab. And guess what? I haven't seen him back out there yet.
Nice. I love that.
That's the work. Because I feel like, we grew up on, remember that old song, Thank You, Lord, for all you've done for me?
Yeah.
It could have been me.
Outdoors.
With
no shoes.
No
and
shoes.
no clothes.
Come on.
Well, no, and I think that sometimes because I can say for me, because I moved back to Lowell in late 07, and I want to say within a couple of years of me moving back, because I was living off by the Highlands, Plain Street, and that's when there were a lot of, people that were, just like, you have any change, blah, blah, blah. And then you saw the increase over that time, because this was 2007.
Right.
So mind you, the market crash for housing and
Absolutely.
all of these factors that people don't always consider,
Right.
but it affects people's lives.
Yeah.
And, I felt like I saw the panhandling increase so much.
Yeah.
And it's like, in my head, I'm like, why? Because I'm not someone who carries cash.
Me
I'm
neither.
like, so I'm like,
Never.
you got cash apps. Like, I send you a cash app. And I literally, like, I have change because I always keep change, but I'll be like, sorry. And I feel like I'm like trying to not drop it all while I'm giving it outside my window while watching the green light. But one of the things that people will make you think is like, oh, they just want money for alcohol, or they just want money for drugs, or what have you. So one of the things that me personally that I would want to do is I would read their sign. Yeah. And it's like, oh, food.
Right.
So then I'm going to go get them some food.
Right.
And me, I'm not a big fast food person. I'll have it from time to time.
Of course.
But I'm like, I'm going to get them like a pizza, or I'm going to get them like a sub, and I go to George's. Yeah. And then when you talk to businesses, you'd be surprised how many businesses would be like, oh, because you ask. Because I tell my kids, this is my motto in life, and I learned this from my old boss. It's always a no if you don't ask.
That's right.
There it is.
So I would say, hey, listen, there's like a whole, because that encampment on Plain Street is by where I live.
Sure.
So I would be like, can I just get like a few subs or whatever, cut them up small in a pizza? Yeah. And I'm like, I'll pay you for it. And it's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Because people are willing to help.
Because they see the need as well.
No, because there is, like, when you look all over this city, there's so many places. And now they're putting up the signs because they don't want people to panhandle. But obviously, if you need money or you need something, you're still going to do it. And, it's just like, for me, I feel like it's very important to have leaders like yourselves that are doing the work and understanding.
Yeah. But you said something.
About just,
You said something. Let's back up there when you said read the signs.
Yeah.
I read the signs also.
Yes.
Now, one sign I know you're playing me is if you're standing outside with a sign saying, I'm a homeless veteran. You say you're a homeless veteran? Come on. I will give you a ride down to
To
Bedford,
the VA.
to the VA. I'm serious.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You know, because as far as Massachusetts is concerned, we take good care of our veterans.
Yeah.
So there's no need for any veteran
To be homeless.
to be homeless and be on the streets.
That's right.
Right.
So that's
Yeah,
just,
there's resources for that. No,
Yeah.
I absolutely.
I'm a sign reader.
I am. I be like, sometimes, I'm always amazed too, and this is no shade, and it's just me being a joker. Well, I'm like, where does everyone get all these markers and
That part.
cardboard from?
That part.
Because I'm like, I could not even do that right now. If
I like a
had to
good
go
sign now.
out,
Don't play with me.
I'm like, where's my magic marker? I don't know.
Me personally, I didn't realize how bad the homelessness was everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
We had went on vacation and we were going back to our hotel. We were in St. Louis, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at a red light and there was a sign that said, "Don't give money and food to the panhandlers."
Yep.
And it caught my attention that quick.
Mhm.
And in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, maybe they really need something to eat. Maybe they're really hungry. But as we drove through the city, it was like the signs just increased. And when I got back home, I was like, wow, just kind of being blind to the fact because, I'm a homebody. I get in my car. I'm going from here to here.
And
There's no
that's
stops
it.
in between.
Right.
So even living here, there are so many things that you see pertaining to the homelessness, pertaining to people out here that really, really need help.
Mhm.
And if you're just blind to the fact that, you don't want to deal with what the problem is and, you can't be bothered. It could be you out there. It could be your son. It could be your daughter. Even if you give them a cheeseburger, even if you give them some French fries, I'm not saying that it's going to kill you to do that. But think about if the shoe was on the other foot.
Oh, yeah.
And like you, I've never been homeless, I don't know what that's like or what it's about. But when you have a heart for people,
Right.
Anything you do, and I'm big on this. Whatever you do it out of the kindness of your heart. You don't have to plaster it all over social media. You don't.
Thank you for saying my pet peeve. It's like, here's my selfie of me helping someone.
Right.
Absolutely.
What? No.
We had a individual that came to church with us one night. Just met this person just by talking, and we were dropping her off, and she's somebody who's in need as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we, on First Sundays, we have Fellowship Sunday. So we always have food and we fellowship with everybody. And, my thing is get the food out of here. Whatever you want, we have to-go containers, take it home.
Mm-hmm.
This person being in need, do you know when she got out of my car, she saw two people sitting on the ground in the cold and gave them her food. And to me, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she could have kept it for herself and said, right. I'm hungry too.
Right.
But to me, that's what it's all about. Think about if it was you or somebody that was, close
or
to you.
even, like you said, someone close to you, someone you love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel like I personally, because my Nana.
Yeah.
Or I should say knew my Nana.
Uh-huh.
Rest her soul. We love you, Jessica. But
Wade in the water was her song.
Oh, wading in the water. Oh, Lord. Don't get me started. I'm not crying on my podcast. But she instilled that in her children, her grandkids, was always help people.
Yes.
Because how you mentioned, your parents had people.
Absolutely.
My Nana was that person.
Yep.
Right.
And that.
Yeah.
UMass Lowell students
they all lived
at
house.
my grandmother's house. I could not even, I'm writing on my chin. I could not even tell you how many people that have come and gone
Absolutely.
in her house because she opened her home and she just didn't want anything in return because that was her love language was just to give.
That's
and my mom's the same way and I've noticed I'm slowly becoming like that and I'm like, well, I shouldn't say slowly, I probably am full-fledged in it. But just to be able to do things for others.
Yeah.
That's true ministry.
To me,
It
is.
really is. And I feel like that makes me think of when we go back to, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
Yeah.
He was walking everywhere with 12 homies.
They was in the
And
streets.
just doing things,
Listen,
traveling
In the streets.
making miracles. He was
hanging out with the thugs.
He was hanging out with every person
Prostitute.
that would not be someone that you would be like, oh yeah, that's who should be. It's like, what is the point of hanging with saints?
Right.
They don't need you if
No.
they got it right. They're your backbone.
I'll see you on Sunday.
Right.
I see you.
But all the other people,
Come on.
it's like, that's who needs us.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, Mary Magdalene. Nobody want to talk to her. They're like, oh, she would be considered,
Yeah.
a less than desirable woman.
So you
We're
about-
not doing that on my podcast. I'm not going to say that word. I'd say it off camera.
No,
But you know what I'm
You're making a
saying?
segue and you don't even know it.
I am. Okay, what's my segue past
When
this?
you're talking about Mary Magdalene, and let's just visit the story for just a moment. When the woman, let's talk the woman that was found in adultery. Remember her?
Yep.
The Bible, the story says that Jesus didn't say nothing, went down and started writing in the sand. And then when he got up to spoke, he said, "Ye without sin, cast the first stone." And then when they looked around, there were no more accusers. So you're making a segue into justice, and you didn't even know it.
What can I say? I'm in tune. So yes, let's segue into that.
I mean, you did it.
I didn't do it on purpose. I was just speaking my truth because we're talking about what you guys have been doing.
Yeah.
It's like working with the homeless,
Yeah.
working in the encampments, and then you're having the first with the purses in May. It's
Sure.
just like all this thing and all the work,
Right.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of also, as we segue, injustice.
Yeah.
I mean, as a person, you cannot, unless you're making, I would say, to have a decent living, you need to be making at least $100,000 to $150,000, depending on where you
You
live.
need to
I
push
agree.
that up to 2.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
depending on where you live.
yeah.
I was gonna say 2 at first, but it's the
Yeah,
truth.
it
It's
really
like
is.
people cannot survive.
No.
Yeah.
Rent is ridiculous.
It's awful.
Rent costs more than my mortgage. Rent's over $3,000 a month. Easily.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're going to get for that money neither. And
No.
what amenities do you have?
No.
And that's just rent. So
Yeah.
then you add utilities. You add, if you, obviously everyone needs a cell phone.
Yep.
And then you have insurance for your car, your home, or your apartment.
Right.
And then hopefully people have life insurance.
Hopefully.
Very important.
Because I have that myself with my kids. And it's just like all these different things that you have to pay for. Then gas, groceries.
I was going to
obviously,
stop right
we
there.
all know.
Grocery. Stop at the grocery bill
Yeah,
right
groceries.
there. Okay. Before I came here, my feelings got good and hurt.
Your feelings are tore up.
Was messed up because they say that the eggs price, the price of eggs
Went
went up again.
Again.
Oh.
And we use eggs go. You need eggs to bake a cake. You need
I
eggs.
don't bake cake.
Well, I'm just
so
saying.
I will say for me, the price of eggs is definitely ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
I don't buy them a lot.
Okay.
That's what I will say. But groceries are crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They are. They are.
It's so crazy. But let's segue
Yes.
back into what
I'm sorry.
actually
I apologize.
is the spotlight
Yeah.
of what we're here today for, aside from all these amazing things that you all are doing in the community. So we have the inaugural Justice
So,
Sunday that will be held on January
19th at 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
It's going to be at Greater Deliverance, Temple Church God in Christ, 225 Stedman Street, Unit 35. This, again, is an inaugural event. For us as the Church of God in Christ, we have become national partners with the Alliance for Faith and Justice, and we're doing this together. And it's also along with social justice. It's January 19th, and as we know, January 19th is the Sunday before Martin Luther King Day.
Correct.
And so we're going to be celebrating, his work and for justice for all. Because yes, and also with that, our local church has been selected out of over 11,000 churches. Our church here in Lowell has been selected to be one of the partners and to highlight it, and I'm excited to put Lowell on the map.
So, question then
Yes.
for people who may be thinking,
Sure.
like, what does this mean? What's Inaugural Justice Sunday? And because you
well,
said you're
yeah.
selected, so I'm guessing it's something that's happened
It's going to be
over years.
It's been a number of years. A lot of our other denominations, our Baptist brothers, have been celebrating Justice Sunday for a number of years. Our AME brothers and sisters, likewise. But this is the first year that we have been chosen to be the national highlighted partner.
Okay.
And there's actually going to be a 12-hour videos going on the 19th, and Clifton Davis is going to be hosting the event. And like I said, we're going to be talking about justice, social justice in all areas, because it's important. And if we do not put a highlight on it, then I promise you that we will be reverting back to the days of our grandparents. And God knows we don't want to do that ever again. The theme, it was a very interesting theme that we have. The theme is writing a new history. Because, see, this year, we're also going to be commemorating 400 years of Black people or African American people being on this ground of America. Can I say we are not immigrants?
No.
Let's just put that out there. We are not immigrants.
No.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Why are you saying sorry?
No, absolutely I'm not sorry, not sorry.
Talk about
No, what? No.
my podcast. They
I
messed up and told me I can have people on, so
Okay.
we're keeping it real. They know me too.
All right.
But no, I'm glad you said that though, because I've recently been watching. I love documentaries.
Yes.
I love learning about things that I otherwise would not know about.
Right.
I'm a big history buff.
Sure.
And I love learning about not just Black history here
Right.
in America, but I love learning about history all over the world.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And one of the documentaries I just happened to watch today was discussing this very thing about being unapologetic.
Absolutely.
Because history is history.
That's it.
If you choose to ignore it, that's on you.
Correct.
But that doesn't change things.
Doesn't change it.
And it's not about, let me beat this down your throat.
No.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's really just more of lived experience, because I have people in my life that have lived Jim Crow South.
Yes.
And, people who prior to them, in the stories that you learn and get passed along that are trying to be erased right now.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I have zero apologies for that.
Absolutely.
Zero. Because there's nothing we did wrong on that. And we're just speaking truth to power. That's just the facts.
Absolutely.
And it's not just obviously us.
No.
Right.
But, when you think of the natives
Absolutely.
that were here prior to us.
Sure.
Come on.
There's so much history that people just want to
Wipe away.
okay, let's move past it.
Right.
But the thing I think is important is because it is history and it is doomed to repeat itself if you do not learn from it. And
Absolutely.
if you're not acknowledging certain things. So when you say, sorry, not sorry, I'm like, I'm not sorry either.
Oh, no.
'Cause I'm not trying to be like, only Black people are the greatest. I'm not that person.
Absolutely not.
I am all about just, how else can you learn
Come on.
if you don't educate yourself?
Right.
And I educate myself on a variety of cultures.
Yeah.
I teach my kids the same thing. Even with them going to the charter school, it's like a majority of that school is so diverse
Sure,
in
sure,
the
sure.
diaspora of
Yeah.
children there. And I learn stuff even today, and I love it and I embrace it. And I feel like in 2025, you're choosing to either be ignorant
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
or you don't care.
Right.
That's it. That's it. And I don't feel like there should be apologies. And
No.
if they decide to air this or not, that's their business. But I have no agenda other than love.
Sure, sure.
And just unity.
Right.
And,
The truth, yeah, absolutely. And see, even in Lowell, do you know that Lowell played a part in the slave trade?
I do. Because St. Anne's Church was part of the
No,
the slave trade. Sorry.
Slavery involved in slavery. Absolutely. And see, that's what they do. See, that's what they've done. What you just did. The first thing you said, oh, we're part of the Underground
And I
Railroad.
remember Frederick Douglass speaking at the old city hall.
No, yeah, no.
But I do love that.
No,
I won't lie.
no, that's
I love
great. That's
that Lowell's a part of that history.
but great.
Obviously,
But it's deep. And see, Lowell has made lots of these people that have been here that own these. All right, let's back it up. So what has happened during slavery down south? They would send cotton up here to the mills, okay? And we made clothes up here. They made clothes, textile mills. They made the clothes for the slaves and sent them back down south. So Lowell was making money off of slavery, but they don't want to. That's one of the things that is not highlighted in the city. We're quick to say, oh, the Underground Railroad came through here. No, Lowell made its money, even here in Massachusetts, off the backs of us.
Well, I would
That's
say
history.
yes, because when you think of it, because when you see what Mill City, you think of cotton mills.
Come on.
In all of
Come on.
this whole
Come on.
downtown sector as
Yeah.
well. But no, and the thing is, one of what I would like for people to understand is it's not about saying it like, oh my goodness, this is a sin in the city.
Right.
No, right.
Right.
It's not. That
Right.
was the time.
Absolutely.
Everybody's making their money, doing what they need to
Right.
do. What I would like to take from it is just the resilience
Sure.
of the people
Absolutely.
and what we've been able to do, what we've been able to overcome.
Come on.
And obviously, yes, a lot more people made more money than we did in our ancestors, so there's that. But just to be able to have that history and then share it in knowledge, because I feel like that is where the wealth is.
Yeah.
Just understanding
There
where
you go.
come from and where you've been and how you can get better. And I will say for me, over the last probably at least 10 years, I have really embraced being from Lowell,
Sure.
being a part of the city, meeting people and meeting all the people who are working to make change and that are change agents in the city for real.
Yeah.
You know, not the people that are like in the spotlight, but the people that are working
Behind the scenes.
Like
Absolutely.
you mentioned Lavinia, like
Behind the scenes.
there's so many people that work so hard to make a difference in our community.
Right.
For the youth, for the elderly, for the disenfranchised,
Sure.
you know, for the disabled, you know, for so many things. And I love that about the city because now I'm going to look up a documentary on the history of
You go to
cotton in Lowell.
well, you're gonna have to go to
like Mill City, Cotton Mill City. Now that's what I'm
No.
thinking in my head.
And
But
the only
I'm
reason
gonna
I
look
found
it
that
up.
out, the only reason I found that out was because before I started pastoring, I wanted to know the history of a city. I wanted to know the Black history of the city.
Right.
And there was only one book that was in the library.
One book.
And that's what it
And
that's
that's what it talked about?
that's what it entailed.
Do you have the name?
I
of the
don't.
book?
This
You're
was
gonna have to
over.
find it.
This has been
A
over.
couple days ago.
Yeah, over
We'll say
13
that.
years.
We're not gonna
Was
give
it been
our
how long?
ages. We're not giving
12
our
12
ages
years.
out.
Yeah, we're about
Couple
12 years.
days.
Yeah, a couple days.
Couple days.
Yeah, so that was, and I found that very interesting.
It's interesting, but when you mention that, it's not very surprising.
No.
Oh, nothing. No.
Because when you think about the Industrial Revolution and,
Right.
cotton was king
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
all over this country.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then when you have a city
Yeah.
that is just all factories,
Mm-hmm.
and I would also, I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but the UMass Lowell, they do a tour of the city
Mm-hmm.
where you can see the historical sites and they give you like more stuff. So like where Boarding House Park is,
Mhm.
and they talk about the mill girls and things like that. And
Yeah.
I took that tour, I want to say it was like in 2019 maybe.
It must be different because I took it as a kid.
Yeah, no, it's very different. Yeah. No, I took it as an adult. But no, it's definitely very different. And I just remember like, what? So when you said that, it
Yeah.
wasn't because I was not trying to be
No,
like,
no.
oh no,
Yeah. No.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But part of that tour, because they spoke about the mills,
Sure.
and I'm pretty sure they probably said it, but I was probably like, ooh, shiny ball.
Yeah.
Let me go look at this because I like touching and looking at
Absolutely.
things, like I said, with history, and I love field trips. And I remember them talking about the mill girls and showing like their boarding house and stuff like that, and just like so there's so much rich history in this city.
That is.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And not even just in Lowell, because I'm from Lowell, you're from Lowell, you're not, but we'll give you a pass.
I mean, come on.
But you're basically from Lowell.
I mean, by relationship.
By relation and all the work you do. But just so much that you learn, because I remember that was one of the things that I was surprised at when they told me that St. Anne's was part of the Underground Railroad. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
and you go through and you look and you see, and then Old City Hall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? This is what? And Frederick Douglass spoke here. And I'm like, in Lowell? In my head, I
But I
think.
bet none of the children, none of the generations behind us
My kids know.
even know that.
My kids do.
Yours do.
Yes.
But see, that's getting back
Well,
to the.
I also told the school you guys should probably just do a quick local field trip. You save money on a bus, walk across the street, have some chaperones, and take a quick tour.
Yeah.
But there's so much, but like you said, it's like you have to pass that information on, otherwise it's lost.
Come on. It's lost. And see, we've lost a lot. By allowing people to write our narratives and not writing them ourselves. And now it's time to make sure that we write a new history, especially for my children and my children's children, because I don't want my children to have to go through the things that I've had to go through. I don't want my children to see another George Floyd. You understand? I don't want to see Breonna. I don't want to see that, and I don't want them to ever have to see that. So we that have the knowledge and the wherewithal, let's come together, and we may not agree on everything,
Right.
but we need,
And we don't have to.
and we
'cause
don't
all
have to.
different lived
And we
experiences.
absolutely,
That's it.
listen, we don't have to, because that's a clone. We don't want that. We want what you said. The lived experiences gives us who we are, and because of that, we need to stay together. And can I say that? And this is what has happened, I feel, in our world. We have come to a world in which we have become individualist, if that makes any sense. We are all about ourselves,
Self-serving.
and in so many areas. I mean, COVID didn't help that. We people that were introverts, that was right up their alley.
I don't gotta be around nobody. What? This is great.
Yes, but we were made to have relationships.
Yeah, in whatever capacity that is, whether it's husband and wife or pastor and
whatever.
parishioners or mother, daughter, father, son, all these things, and that's just our innate nature. We need that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, I'm such a
Come on,
overthink
say your piece
all the time, but I feel like social media and the internet and easy access to things are like a blessing, but more than anything, it almost feels like a curse.
A curse.
Because like when people think, oh, back in the day, because my kids make fun of me when I say that, but that's my expression. I'm gonna use it forever. I was like, back in the late 1900s when I was born. The late 1900s, but I was like, I had a phone that was connected to a wall with a long cord.
Come on,
like try to uncoil it, and you're like in your room trying to talk. I'm on the phone. People picking up the other line, but we didn't have internet. We didn't have, I think I got my beeper when I was like 18. I think my cousin bought it for me. Yeah, I was like 18. 1998 is when I got a beeper. I'm like.
When I was already on.
You know what I'm saying?
Cell phone.
I didn't have, you guys have those big old, like these phones are probably that big. But no, it's just like, I feel like too much access.
Yeah.
And just, also I feel like just the value of life and living and what people's values are have like just gone down here.
Yeah.
And I think cell phones, I just think cell phones are such a curse. My daughter is 30 and she has been on a cell phone since she was 8. She's had her own cell phone since she was 8.
Oh.
And I think that created that narrative of really not having to talk to people, because back then all you had was the games.
Right.
We don't talk to people. I'd rather text you than talk to you. And where's the human connection in that?
I'm the opposite. I like calling people.
Yeah, where's the
I
human
annoy
connection?
people. I'm like, I got a lot to say, not texting it.
That's me.
I'm that person that if like in my phone, because the other day my alert came up to remind me of my homegirl's birthday. And I was like, oh, like, I'm not texting you. I'm not posting a Facebook post to tell you, because I feel like that's the disconnect now.
It is.
Where everything is just like immediate, informal, impersonal. There's nothing with it. It's just like, I could see someone off the street and Facebook friend request them and send them a happy birthday message, and it's the thing.
Right.
I'm like, no, I'm just like that, where I prefer to call people. Like, I would say I talk to my mother almost every single day. Like, I call her.
Right.
And I'm like, what are you doing, lady? Just I harass her. She harasses me back. But it's just like, I know that she comes from a different generation and she appreciates that.
Right.
Because, it's like, it's so easy to not be connected to people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you're not connected, there's no vested interest in what's best for you, what you're going through, what's going on in this world.
Right.
Now it's everyone's bullies on social media, everyone's talking trash, everyone's doing all these things. And I'm like, we are not as divided as this rhetoric that's going on, I believe.
Absolutely.
Would allow us to be if we accept it. I do not feel like that. Yeah. I do not feel like that. We can have differences in opinions, but I do not feel as though, as a country, it's like this side or this side. There's a lot of people that are learning and trying to learn. And I feel like when you're open to things like that, you go into your local places to worship, and you have the right people over you that can help navigate these questions you may have or concerns and things like that, and talk to people.
Right.
That's what
Have a
people don't
conversation.
do.
Yeah.
Have
They don't
a
do that.
conversation. No, they do not.
I don't meet a stranger. My wife, I get on my wife's nerves. Since you talk to
I'm the same way.
I speak to everybody.
I am the same way, so sorry. I connect on that. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be sitting in the line, be like, oh, go ahead. You know, like I just talk to people all the time.
Absolutely.
And my kids laugh. They're like, oh my goodness. And I laugh too because I'm like, I've turned into my mom. Because I remember going to Market Basket and I'm like, my mother knows everybody. And now I'm her.
Yeah.
And my kids are like, we're just going to sit in the car. We don't
I feel bad for your
They
boys
don't even want to
sometimes.
go in the
I
store
feel
with
bad
me
for
anymore.
your boys. Lord help them.
And I tell them, that's why sometimes they're just like, nah,
I'm good.
You're on your own.
Like, hang. And I'm like, all right. But no, I still want them to come because I want them to see that because that means a lot. And even when I see them interact, because I tell them, you meet somebody, shake their hand, look them in the eye.
Absolutely.
Introduce yourself.
Yes.
Like that, you have to have certain things. And I feel like there's so much lost, you know, social skills.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, so you said something there.
Yeah. A lot of these kids don't even have social skills.
There's a lot of lost social
There's a lot of adults that don't have social skills. Forget the kids.
Yeah.
How you expect the kids to get them if then the adults don't have them?
Yeah, no, my kids, I will say that because I get compliments, which I am thankful for when people like, your boys are so kind and they're so polite. And I'm like,
and well-mannered.
I will punch them in the face if they disrespect me. Because you remember that back in the day, it's like, we about to go in the store. Don't you touch nothing. Don't you ask for nothing. I have not had that conversation with them, but I've had in my home, I'm like, boys, this is how we conduct ourselves.
But look how that have those statements, you know, brought us along the way. You know, look at the examples that we had. You know, look at the things that we learned from. And our parents didn't always all have everything together. Our grandparents didn't have everything together. But
I don't have everything
one
together.
thing that they taught us was respect.
Respect, absolutely.
Yeah, they taught us respect.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you know, it's such a difference, you know, and over the course of the years, we've seen it. We've seen, you know, the disrespect in the kids, you know, in the school system. And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad, you know, because, you know, when I was growing up, and I'm sure when our parents were growing up, you know, it takes a village.
It does.
It takes a village to raise a child, you know. I'm sure your mother got stories too, you know, when they was hanging out somewhere they wasn't supposed to, the neighbor called and said something, you know.
Yeah,
we don't have
my
that
mom,
stuff anymore.
My mom had Jessie B, so I was in good hands because my nana was not playing. She'd be like, what you doing? And it's so funny. I might be embarrassed saying this, but whatever. It's so funny. Because I remember I grew up, my nana was like my mom because my mom had me at a very young age.
Yeah.
So she did the best she could, but my nan was like, come on.
Been there.
And then she would bring me with her down south. I had all these experiences, and I'm like, I am a city girl. I am not about to do this. But my nana used to always have like random one-liners. And when I graduated college, because I've lived with her pretty much a majority of my life, and I would live with her during my college breaks, and then my my summer break, I want to say it was 2000. And I was like, oh, she's like, where you going? I said, I'll be back. I'm just going out. And then she goes, what time is it? Oh. And I was like, it's 10, or I think it was like either 10 or 10:30. And
that was too late to be leaving the house. That was too late to be leaving the house.
She said, ain't nothing open this late but bars and legs.
Well.
And I'm like, man, what are you doing? Because I had no intention of
either.
The second one. Right. I was going to the bar. I was getting the drink. So I was like, dang, man. And I was joking. I was like, you go. Like, it was just so funny because she was so, like, consistent with keeping your integrity and your dignity. And that's one of the things she always, and I obviously hindsight 2020 that she was trying to instill in me, because she said perception's reality. Yeah. Your truth is your truth. Yeah. However, if people see, that's what, and she wanted to always make sure that I kept my character intact
Yeah.
and, just, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I definitely feel like I was out of a lot more trouble than I could have been in because of her and people in my life, and definitely the saints.
Yeah.
And the prayers. Somebody prayed for me.
Hallelujah.
Had me on their mind.
Jesus.
And I
Jesus.
appreciate those prayers because I'm like, life is crazy.
Absolutely.
And the streets don't care.
I wouldn't be here
Yeah.
if it wasn't for somebody that prayed. Great grandma on down the line. I laugh when you're talking about your grandmother, being with your grandmother a lot. I was born in Hawaii. Yes. My mother had me, let's just speak about my mother had me when she was a senior in high school in Hawaii. And my grandma said, "Oh, that's good for you. You're still on, my mother's straight A still, you're still going on your way to college and do everything that you would plan to do. I'll take care of him." And so, yes, you talk about the stories. I lived in San Antonio, Texas. I lived in Fort Dix in New Jersey, but they did that so that my mother could get the education that she needed so that she could take care of me.
Right.
And so, when Margot was getting through college, let's go.
Yeah.
And so I was thankful for that, and I'm thankful for the multi-generations that before us that they saw our mothers needed an extra
And they
hand.
put in the work.
And
And that's the villages.
Yeah.
there you go.
Because when I think of my village and my earliest childhood memory, obviously my Nana, my mom, I have my aunts, my uncles, my godparents.
Sure.
And then my family, as you all know, is ginormous.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think of all of the different influences I had.
Mm-hmm.
And then my great uncle Bishop Cho
Sure.
and my aunt Ruthie, and I'm like coming up in church.
Yeah.
So there were so many what's the word buffers to
Sure.
keep me from going the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say buffers, it's really more of in here.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they instilled so much wisdom
Mm-hmm.
that when you're about to think you're about to do something crazy,
Yeah.
You hear
it's
somebody in the
almost
back of
like
your
you
mind.
hear them
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, this might not be the best thing I should be doing, or I shouldn't be here.
Right.
And it was almost like how people say you have like the guardian angels
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like throughout my life, that's what I had because of the spiritual
Yeah.
connection,
Mm-hmm.
the genuine spiritual
There
connection,
you go.
I should say,
There you go.
of the people in my life that were going to the throne for me, for not just me, but and praying for me.
Yeah.
Those phone calls, like, see what you doing, and
Right.
I'm like, because I remember getting phone calls at a time that was like, oh, this timing is,
Right.
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
because I could have made a bad decision.
But those people all played an intricate part
Yeah.
of who you are.
I'm gonna
Oh,
make
yeah,
y'all
for
laugh
sure.
though. But we talk about the church folks that played an intricate part and that were buffers for us. What about those people that was in the streets?
Yeah.
That when they saw us out there
And knew we
and knew that we shouldn't have been
And
out
they're
there.
like, what you doing?
Yeah. Everybody
They
just,
call your mother.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
don't make me. So even in though, thank God for even those
Yeah.
folks,
Oh, yeah. True.
that were out there, but they knew
But
that
they
we
knew
were,
and respected that.
and they knew that we
Yeah.
shouldn't have been out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, and then they spoke to that, and so when you talk about them buffers,
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point, because I remember one of the biggest times I got in trouble was when I was graduating high school, and I was like, oh, everybody was going shopping, because at this point, because when you grow up in church, it's like your church family and then my cousins.
Right.
I had no social life.
Right.
So my senior year, I'm about to graduate. Some of the girls that I went to high school with were going to the mall.
All right.
So it's like, oh, we're going to go to the mall, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right. And I asked permission. I was miraculously told yes. So they came to pick me up, because I never did anything other
Right.
than church and my family. So went to the mall. We're hanging. and they're buying like outfits, and I'm like, I'm just chilling.
Right.
And then it was like, oh, we're making a stop. So we end up going to a graduation party.
Oh, Jesus.
And that was, I was supposed to be home, I want to say like 3 or 4. And now it's like 5, 6. So I'm late. No
Right.
cell phones, obviously.
Sure.
And then I'm at this party and everyone's doing what they're doing.
Yep.
And I was not, but people were purposely like, no, don't offer her nothing.
Right.
Because they knew.
They knew.
Yeah.
Tenesha does not drink. She
Right.
doesn't smoke. She doesn't do all this stuff.
Mm.
And I was just, it's funny because I didn't even realize I was sitting on top of the cooler that had all the beers in it. So I had to keep getting up till finally I was like, let me just move over here. And then I was just chilling in because I wasn't driving.
Sure.
So I
Right.
was basically at the mercy of the
them.
people who brought me.
Right.
And I will never forget, I'm outside chatting with the guy actually because he was trying to talk to me, but I was like not interested, but I was just making time pass. And the police pull up and they had my senior picture, put it up to my face. I got put in the back of a cop car and they drove me home. I would, mind you, which is, if you think about that though, that wasn't even 24 hours. So you're filing like missing persons or what? I don't
They
know
didn't
what
file
they
no
filed.
They didn't file no
They
missing
did
person.
something.
They knew
Your
the call.
grandmother knew somebody.
That's
I
it.
don't know who
That-
did
Knew
what.
somebody who said,
That's
"Go
all.
get
They
her."
were like, go find her. And
Wow.
I didn't even realize I was only like 10 minutes from my house. So that was like the worst thing I did coming up in school. But when you say that, it was funny because even though everyone was doing their thing,
Come on.
they
Somebody
made
was
sure
looking out for
that
you.
I was good.
Come on.
Yeah.
Because they knew I wasn't going to partake.
Right.
I just was excited to not have to babysit my brothers and
Right.
not be home
Right.
and be in church.
Right.
Sure.
I was like, I'm just hanging out with all these people I'm about to graduate with in 2 weeks. So it was like,
Thank God that now, when you say that, I was always in church. Can I say that a lot of our family, well, I can't talk about a lot, I can talk about mine. My family, it was God. And people put church and then put just your family after that. That's not how God
That's not
intended.
biblical.
Okay? God intended for you to have a relationship with him. God
and your
first.
family.
Then your family.
And then,
And then the church.
Yep.
All right, but
People mess up the order.
right, and when things are out of order, that's disorder.
Yes.
And see, that's why we've lost a lot of generations. That's why it's taken so long for some people to get back to church,
Right.
because of the trauma. Can I say trauma?
Well, I will not disagree with you because
All right.
I personally feel like that.
Yeah.
And I can relate to exactly what you're saying because when you grow up regimented a certain way and, especially, our churches, like the way that we grow up, it's like Sunday school, church service, you have Bible study, you have praise and worship, you have, there's so many things. And then once there's like an event for the week, then it's like you have that whole thing.
Right.
I felt like I was in church at least 4 to 5 days a week.
Because you were.
And
And twice on Sunday.
Yeah, it's almost like for me, it's very easy to feel some type of way because it feels like almost like you're forced to do it because you're not asked, like, come on, let's go to church. And it's just like, I just felt like my experience growing up in church was not always something that I'm like, because I definitely have some amazing memories.
Oh, absolutely.
I love.
Absolutely. But it was dysfunctional as I don't know what.
That kind of shaped
Yeah.
as I became like closer to adulthood because I believe I stopped going to church right before I went to college. And even then I was like a little less because I was in sports and stuff like that. But I just started feeling like, I feel like you're being judged. People are trying to,
Come on.
like that's what I felt like. And it's like everybody's perfect and I'm not. Okay, wonderful.
Right.
But it's
And
like,
you should
you
never
forget,
be
I
made
know
to
you
feel
too,
that way.
so there's
Exactly.
that. Like,
Right.
people are just trying to, you know, it's like, okay, you're speaking in tongues and you're shouting and you're doing all this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that never meant anything to me.
Right.
Because as a child, because you know children,
Absolutely.
they observe
Everything.
everything. And I remember, because the first day I was in church, I don't remember this day, but my grandmother brought me after my mother had me. I think I was maybe 3 days old.
All right.
That's the first time I was in church. So I literally
You were born in the church.
Right.
So there's that, and then it's like you're put in choir,
Sure.
and you're doing all these things in ministry, and you're expected to have perfect attendance. And
Yep.
you know, at one point, my dad drove the van, and my mother was a choir director. Like, we were immersed, and then obviously my family is in the church too. So then you start to just kind of feel some sort of resentment because it's like people think they know you because they know you from church, but it's like, you don't even know who I am. Like, and I got a lot of like animosity built up in me.
Sure.
And I stopped going. And then I started back, late 07.
Okay.
When I started back at Whole Armor. And then I was with Linton and stuff. And after that, it's like I started feeling it again.
Right.
Because I was like, I just feel like I want people to be real people. Because it always felt like, to me, people were trying to be holier than thou, and they're better than me, and they think they know me. And one of my pet peeves was people who wanted to come up to me and be like, the Lord told me. And
We're going there.
And I was like, because it wasn't the Lord. It's you judging me.
Come on.
That's what it was.
Come on.
Because I will say one thing. My grandmother used to always tell me that I have a spirit of discernment where I can feel people's energies and their spirits. And I never would be a recipient of a word that came from someone where I felt like it just felt dirty.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Because it was.
No, and that's a thing, and people need to understand that. Just because someone has a title and you're in church doesn't make them the be-all, end-all of your life to tell you exactly where you're at and what you're going. I'm like, you are so far off.
Oh, see,
I'm
now,
in Massachusetts and you're in California.
listen.
Terrible.
Yes, and can I tell you something? Since you went there,
I did go there.
all right. So, for me, in my church and how I operate, if what you're saying to me does not line up with God's word, then you're lying to me.
Prophesying.
Yeah, you are prophesying, okay? And since we're there, I don't need people to prophesy houses, cars, okay? I'm gonna tell you why. Why am I gonna prophesy that God's gonna give you a new car and you don't take the one you got to get an oil change? Why am I going to prophesy that God's going to give you a new house and you sitting up and you don't pay your bills? You're sitting up with a 400 credit score. You are lying and trying.
That's how it works. It's dead.
Come on.
That is what it is.
And see, prosperity ministries have tried to kill the church, because when the people don't prosper, then they're gone.
I definitely feel like I'm all for speaking things to people.
Right.
However, there needs to be some context. So like you said, where if you, for me, for example, it's like if you live in an apartment and you want to get a house.
Come on.
These are what you need to do to get prepped for
That's
that.
right.
It's not
go educate yourself.
That's
right.
No, but I understand exactly what you're saying. So for me, for the people who are doing those things, and then you see it with your spiritual eyes,
Yeah.
and then you call it,
Yeah.
and then they're in agreement. Boom.
Right.
I'm all with that.
Absolutely.
But I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, you literally like have zero things that you're doing, because you have to still do things.
You have to do the work.
You have to still
do the work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And see, and God is not going to have somebody tell you something that is foreign to you. Okay? If a word comes to you, it's coming as confirmation to something else that he has already put in your heart
That
or in your
already
spirit.
showed you.
Come on.
I'm all about confirmation.
I talked to him. I talked to me and God. We are in good relationship. Why I need him to talk to you about me? Right. I talked to. Yeah, we on first name basis.
No, and I definitely feel like that, because one of the things for me too that I have learned about myself is that I'm not religious. I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
Because there are thousands of religions on this planet.
Absolutely.
And obviously everyone's is the right one.
Right.
Depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing for myself is I'm not subscribing to, oh, I'm this or I'm this or I'm this.
Right.
I'm like, I just want to be the best Tenesha I can be.
Sure.
And I want my kids to be the best that they can be too. And the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Absolutely.
And then also just what I've learned in my lifetime with the wonderful people that I've been able to have in my life is to treat people with dignity and respect.
Sure.
Which is what you all are doing.
Right. It's about relationship.
Yeah, no.
And that is not
genuine
relationship. It's not for me. I was ordained Church of God in Christ.
Yeah.
But I don't preach Church of God in Christ.
Right.
I preach Jesus and him crucified. It's about a personal relationship.
Yeah.
And once
and that's exactly
you
what
know,
it is.
and
You
that
figure it out for yourself.
Right. I'll give you the tools.
We're not telling you to pick something.
No, not at all.
Absolutely. Just be a good doobie.
That's it. Find your way. Find your way.
No, and just help people, because I would say for me, like, I enjoy helping other people.
Yes.
Because I grew up seeing that.
Right.
And there's no greater satisfaction for me than to help someone who I don't need anything back in
from.
return.
And you don't even have to tell nobody I helped you.
No, and I'm not like, oh, take a picture with me, social media, because that I also hate. Yeah. I won't lie. I don't like that.
You're a blessed woman. Can I say that? Can I tell you, you are a blessed woman?
Thank you. I know.
And I know, and see, that's why you are able to be a blessing, because you, number one, you know who you are.
Yes, I do.
You are insecure within yourself. You don't need somebody to validate you. And see, that's what happens a lot of time in churches. Church is the only place where folks, call you a doctor and you ain't never been to nobody's school.
You have all kinds of titles you didn't even pay for.
I'm sorry. I apologize. But so it's, again, like I said, it's back to relationship.
Yeah. I'm a relationship person all day. I believe in genuine relationships.
Absolutely.
I don't like to force myself on anyone, and I also reciprocate it.
Sure.
Don't force yourself on me.
Right.
Sure. I feel very fortunate that I've had amazing people in my life that have been grounded in faith.
Sure.
So that helps me when things get crazy, because we found out the week before Christmas that where I work at Enterprise just got bought. And who knows what's going to happen in the next 5-6 months. Right. And it's almost like there's like fire all around you. And I felt like I was just walking. I'm like,
got a piece.
It's what can I do?
Yeah.
I can control what I can control, and that's it. And I'm like, Lord, you do it, whatever you need to do, because anything can happen, and I feel for people who have been, in their roles for decades.
Sure.
and that part hurts me because I've only been a little over a year, but it's just like I just have faith and I wish the best for everybody because
Right.
obviously everyone can't, you
Right.
know, keep what they have, but I just have faith things will work out as they need to. And
Yeah.
that's my prayer for all of my colleagues
Absolutely.
because I don't know, maybe something better will come, you know, I don't know, or maybe some people might retire early, I don't
There's
know.
a plan.
But exactly, like there's something.
There's a plan.
Definitely a plan.
I just, but that was the first thing I thought of was my Nana because she's my go-to. She's my guru angel.
Sure.
She sits like on probably in the back.
Mm.
But she would always say, whatever you think you have, God has better. So that is her thing.
That's it.
That's your
when you think it's like, oh, everything's going.
That's your
and
thing
it's
too.
better.
Yep.
Boom. What was that?
That's your thing too.
What's my thing?
What grandma said.
Oh yeah. She always, yeah. It's just, you know, it's just like I feel like how people say, what is it? They're hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm that, but I also feel like I'm a hopeless optimist.
You have to be.
Because I try to focus on good things.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's gonna be a mess.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't want that. I want community engagement, and that's what I also do.
Sure.
You know, like today, it's like I worked, and then we're doing two shows today,
Yeah.
and they've been great. I love them. I can't wait to see them. But it's just really more of making a difference. And you guys obviously are doing that, which I didn't even know you guys were doing all these things. So now I feel ashamed.
No need to feel ashamed.
I am.
We don't see you do, because
You
we don't do
broadcast it.
what we don't.
Good for you.
It's not. We're not working for you.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. We're working for him. So I don't need to broadcast what we do. We definitely need help to do what we do, but I want you to see me working.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the pastor, but you know what I am? I'm the chief servant of the house.
You're just gonna throw on your jeans and your sneakers and get out there.
I clean the toilets at my church.
Hey.
All right. There's nothing.
That's my least favorite thing to do at my house.
There's nothing that I won't do. You know, I believe, you know, I'm supposed to serve the people, whoever they are.
That's it.
So, if I may,
Yes.
because you're talking about serving people, so the inaugural Justice Sunday that you guys are representing for Lowell,
Yes.
that consists of 20
across the whole United States.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny that with planning this event, my wife and my daughter, they're texting because they text each other in the house. Mm-hmm. Why is Dad having a meeting at 10 o'clock at night? Well, because this
you
thing.
guys are house texters.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of going upstairs, you're like,
we go upstairs. They're on the same floor.
Oh Lord, I was trying to give you.
Oh, but see, don't make me lose my train of thought because of their silliness. Yes, they text in the house. They want to know why am I having a meeting at 10 o'clock at night?
I got nothing.
What you got? I ain't got nothing.
I got nothing. Right.
So that's because of people. We have people that are time zones. I have people in California.
Well, yeah, no, that's
so but it's across the country.
20 churches across the United States of America.
Yes.
And on the flyer, I saw that the theme is unity, justice, and equality.
Absolutely. They all go hand in hand.
Yes.
Because you can't have unity without justice, and you can't have justice without equality.
Yeah.
Okay. As much as people try to, they try to separate it, it has to go hand in hand.
Right. And how does the program work? Because I saw you have like people coming in. So is that the same for all the other 19 locations?
Well, every location has the opportunity to personalize their event for themselves.
Okay.
For me, I wanted to, Dr. King was his form of worship was to worship on Sunday.
Right.
So we're going to have a worship Sunday, and we're actually having a community choir, which is something that I'm real excited about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we have, we've opened it up for the community and churches or even people just in general that
Right.
want to be a part. We have one more rehearsal. It's going to be Friday night at 7:30
Yep.
at the church. Elder Tanya Cotter is actually is in charge of the choir for us. So we're looking
On Sunday?
yes
Sunday afternoon,
for the
yes.
Sunday afternoon service. So we're excited about that. 𝐓𝐞𝐞 Ferris is also going to be.
I know both of those ladies.
I know you do.
And they're amazing.
And so
They're
𝐓𝐞𝐞 will be,
amazing. Praise and worship.
she'll be doing praise and worship for the service. And we actually have a great keynote speaker, Dr. Lewis Floyd from the Third Baptist Church in Lawrence, Massachusetts. So this is, this is a us thing.
So basically, everyone come one, come on.
Listen, we go
And
past
what time?
the time.
p.m.
What time?
4 p.m.
What time?
4 p.m.
What time?
4 p.m.
And it's 4 p.m. It's not 4 p.m. church time.
No. Should we tell for people who run on CP time, it's at 3?
The doors will be open at 3 o'clock.
Open at 3.
All right, and we're going to.
The only thing is
Yes,
we are
ma'am.
not handicapped accessible.
Let's make that clear.
Okay.
At present, our church is not handicap accessible.
Okay.
We are on the second floor, but I have a handicapped person, and before we decided to move in this place, I took her over there to see if it was going to be acceptable for her. And she told me, she said, she walked up the stairs. She's blind. She walked up the stairs. She said, there's 24 stairs here.
Mm-hmm.
And this place is just fine for me. So this is just a temporary space for us. So we can, if you have a problem walking, we can help you get up the stairs, but we just don't have an elevator or a wheelchair. We're not wheelchair accessible.
Okay.
At that,
So if
this
people
growing.
do come, at least they can know that. So
In
they
advance.
Can kind of
Yeah,
plan
they
out
can-
if
yeah, they
they
can
want to
gauge.
help.
Absolutely.
Get their loved ones up there.
Absolutely. We plan on packing it in, and it's, and if we
And
got
this is a free event,
Yeah,
but
free.
you encourage a love offering, I'm going to guess.
well, since you said it, I didn't say
I'm just
nothing.
saying that-
You said it.
I
It's a
Don't
free
say-
event.
It's
No, but I'm saying
yes, there will be a free one.
event, but where there's so many
Yes.
things going on,
Yes,
it's like
There's an
okay,
expense to it.
There will
and
be a free will offer.
Yeah,
There will be not. Yeah,
you
no.
can give $1. You
That's
can give
it.
$5.
Whatever God puts on your
Yeah,
heart.
That's
no, I like to say that though
Yeah.
because again,
You don't
as I
carry-
mentioned earlier, I don't carry money.
No, listen, I hear you. Well,
So
see,
I'm just saying for the people like me, be like, all right, if you go buy something
Yeah.
and you want to get like $10 cash back.
well, guess what? we have people like you in our church. Okay, so
There's
we.
people like me everywhere.
So,
Nobody, it's like
so
a card.
we have electronic ways to be able to give, and we will make that available on the day. We have Cash
that's
App,
good to know.
PayPal.
See,
we
there
have
we go.
Zelle. What else we got?
Venmo.
We have
Venmo.
Givelify.
We have
We don't have
Givelify.
Zelle.
We don't have Zelle.
No.
Oh, you got rid of my Zelle?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well,
I love it.
this is my manager. She keeps
She's
it.
like, we don't.
No.
We got rid of that 2 years ago.
Who knew?
Girl, and it's been 2 years.
It's funny.
I was just being sarcastic. Oh my God.
Well, see, I stay in my lane. That is not my
You
lane.
know what you're doing. Your lane is not
That-
keeping track
No,
of the electronic
absolutely-
ways to
no.
accept payment.
I'm-
And that should not be your lane.
I'm not the.
It's
that,
not, because
real.
guess what? It's not my lane either. We have somebody that handles it.
no,
But
listen,
you just are in the know.
he's in the know.
So you're like,
who knows?
whatever she says,
Yeah.
I'm
We have
going
no
with
clue.
it.
I have no
That's-
clue,
I mean,
and that's on purpose
yeah.
because that's not my
It's
focus.
fine. That's not your ministry.
That's it.
Ministry is
There
not-
you go.
Hello.
You said stay in your lane. Hello. So inaugural Justice Sunday. Are
Yes.
you also going to be speaking? At
I
all,
am-
or
I-
you're just
I-
pastor?
He's the host
I'm
pastor.
the
He'll
host
have words,
pastor.
but
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna
It's
greet
not.
the
It's,
folk.
It's not gonna be my. It's not gonna
Well,
be my
I'm
day.
excited to go to this, to be honest.
I'm
with
excited
you.
for you to come. It's good. When I tell you, I'm just looking for a great event. I'm just looking for.
And this is the first one, I'm guessing.
This is the
that you
first
have?
one.
We've had that we've been a part
this
of.
first one.
Wow.
And while since we're here, I might as well let something hot off the press. This is not going to be our last work with the National Justice Foundation. I am going to be looking for some youth ambassadors to be a part of this. And there will be some training, and there will be a trip to Washington, D.C., fully paid.
Nice.
Because of this, because of what we're connected to. It's not about me. It's a us thing.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that any opportunity that can happen for us, for our children to get any type of exposure to the National Black Museums and everything that's in D.C., it's important.
Right.
'Cause
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
They're the future.
Come on.
That's it.
What are we doing? We're writing a new history, and we need to make sure that our young people are on point.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm big with that with my kids for sure. I'm like, y'all need to know this, and they're like, oh my god.
You got one in
But
high school
then
yet?
Yeah, he's in high school.
All right, well,
Ninth grade.
not
I
well.
can't even believe it.
Who
Who told him to do that?
Y'all getting old.
And he works. He has a job.
Shut your mouth.
Yep. He been at MB for
What?
like 4 months, making money. Got his bank
So
account.
happy for him.
He loves it. He's like, mommy, and he signs it, and then he tells me, yeah, I want to get some cash back, because he had a track meet, so
Okay.
I deposited the checks because obviously because he's a minor, it's linked. to
Right.
And he goes, yeah, I want like $50 back because he was going to like a party or something. I want a 20, a 10, 2 5s. I'm like, what?
Yes.
He said, break my money
20,
down.
10,
break it down.
5s and 10 ones. I was like, what
Yes.
is going on here?
Because the ones are going in one pocket and the other money's going in there.
He's such a geek too, and I love it. Like, I was like, how is that your breakdown? I was like, I would have just been like 2 20s and a 10.
No, he don't want everybody to know he got the 20s.
No,
he know what he's doing.
He got his little leather wallet too.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I can't stand it. I love it though, but I also love that my boys are very like open to
Sure.
listening
Yeah.
because they know I don't just try to like,
Right.
Right.
but I think that's one thing that's very important because I remember myself growing up when I would hear my Nana tell me stories.
Sure.
And just recently, I interviewed my uncle, the Bishop
Okay.
𝐓𝐞𝐞,
Oh, awesome.
and my Aunt Ruthie
Sure.
for writing a piece on Black History Month that's
All right.
going to be published with Enterprise for our easing, and it's internal and it goes out externally. So if you see it, feel free.
All right.
But just to learn so much, and I'm like, I love it. I love the history and like, because I always used to joke about how my Uncle Stanley reminded me of Martin Luther King. Because he's such a gentle, kind spirit and soul. And I just always like thought of him like that. Even though obviously I've never seen
No, but that's
Dr. King in
But that's
person.
him.
that was
But his aura to me is very much like that. He's just got compassion
Yeah.
and love for people.
Always
and
has.
He has been the same person
absolutely.
my entire life.
Yeah.
Shout out Bishop Choate. Hey.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's it. But he has the spirit of Martin Luther King.
He definitely does.
Yeah.
And I always think that when I see him.
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
But you know that there was a need for. We would talk about it. A gentleman and I would talk about. There was a need for Malcolm X.
oh yeah, for sure.
All right, and so let's not forget that.
Yeah, because
also.
Vincent and I on my last one I did, we were talking about that because for a short time it was like polar opposites, but it was like, was it really though?
Absolutely not.
No,
Not absolutely not.
they weren't. And then when they became like a little bit more familiar, I'm like, and that's obviously
That's when they
all the things
that's when
started going
that's
down
when they
and
had to be
people-
assassinated.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, because again, I love documentaries.
Yeah.
I love documentaries.
Yeah.
Well done documentaries, I will say that.
Have you been to Memphis yet?
Yes.
Have you been to the
I've
Lorraine
been to
Hotel?
Lorraine.
You took the kids Lorraine Hotel.
I went there
My
for the
kids have
first
not
time
been
last
there,
year.
but
Okay.
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, I took wife there this past November for the first time.
It was very emotional for some reason.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Extremely emotional.
Yeah.
And funny that we're talking about history, and we got to wrap this thing up. We've been going. I'm sorry, you tried to, but
She's like, get me out of here.
but no, but in
We're
speaking
having
of,
good conversation.
are we in good time?
No, we're chilling.
Okay.
People who are gonna watch are gonna watch or
Okay.
not, or they
Right.
might shut it off. We're
All
not
right.
worried about it.
But Dr. Martin Luther King, as we know, his last speech was at the headquarters for the Church of God in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because it was the largest Black-owned facility.
Was that
And
the one when he spoke about the mountaintop? I may not get
Yeah,
there with you,
absolutely.
which is crazy.
Yeah. hmm
Yep. We go there every year.
I stood behind the pulpit that he stood behind.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
that building itself is amazing.
Yeah. So you need to, next time you need to go to Mason Temple,
And go check it out.
and they'll give you a tour. And
I feel like I'm gonna cry.
I'm
I'm an emotional person.
No, you're gonna cry.
I cry like my kids laugh at me. They're like, we'll be watching a movie and they'll be like, like I'm
Yeah.
like I just am an emotion. Like when something connects and resonates
Absolutely.
with me, I'll just sit there and then my eyes slowly start filling and then the tears come down. And I try to just be in my own business and I'll be like,
Yep.
Yeah.
but no, everyone needs to look at me
Yeah.
and mommy, you're such a big baby. I said, whatever, I'm emotional. I have a big heart. I can't help it. Because I do.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you some. When we finish up, I'm gonna give you some, because since you done told me you like documentaries, I'm about to give you some QR codes.
Okay.
About four good ones for you to get a hold of
Oh, I love it.
when we get out of
I
here. I
love
got
it.
you.
I'm such a history geek.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you for
So
having us.
again, everyone, we have Pastor Dwayne Wheeler and his lovely First Lady, Evangelist Stacy Wheeler, coming in hot.
Wait, let's fix something before we
Wait,
go.
what?
She is not the first lady, okay? Because if she's a first lady, that denotes that they're the second lady.
I'm the only.
She's the only lady,
Oh,
okay?
is this something you have like?
No,
I've
this is-
never heard of this.
Listen, an
before.
old church mother told me that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the only lady.
That's it. She's not
I'm
the first
getting
lady.
corrected. I like that.
Yeah.
I learned something new today.
I tell
I
people.
feel like I always hear First Lady. So,
Well, you do.
so
you
know
do.
what? Pastor Wheeler and Evangelist Wheeler.
There you go.
There we go. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna try to not be in trouble.
We love you.
We
Yeah,
love
I
you.
love you
Thank
too.
you so much.
You want to give them
Absolutely.
our numbers so
We're
we can-
gonna put this.
Oh, you gonna put it on there?
Yeah.
I'll stay in my
Yeah,
lane. I'm
no.
out getting up.
See, that's all right. Sometimes when you deviate, then you get the little. Toot. My car does that.
It does
So
it.
you just got.
All right.
Because you left your lane.
All right, I'm back.
So we're gonna put all of this information on
All right.
the post with the podcast. So we'll be able to put your website.
Yeah.
We'll be able to put the flyers, things like that.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. You
Yeah.
are. Thank
Does
you.
that
Thank you.
work?
Yes,
That's
it
wonderful.
does.
Thank you again
So-
for the opportunity.
Coming up on Sunday, inaugural Justice Sunday on January 19th at 4 p.m. We're going to put the address there so you can be there and be ready to receive a wonderful word going into this new year, and also just learning what is going on here in our communities as well as throughout our nation. We're so happy to have Pastor and Evangelist here today. Thank you so much for joining us. We know this is a lot longer podcast, but we had some great conversation. Feel free to send some comments or any suggestions or anything you have. We would love to hear that, because I'm always open to having conversations, because everyone doesn't agree on everything, but we're very happy to have an open dialogue. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and God bless. And see you next time on Tea Time. Bye.